Markup on Selling Price Part 2. This video will discuss the markup on selling price and specifically look at finding the selling price of perishable items. Fred bakes 40 dozen cookies at a cost of $4.70 a dozen. Assume that he is expected to sell only 80% of the cookies. If a markup of 40% on selling price is needed, what should be the selling price per dozen? Round to the nearest cent. First, we need to find the cost to make all 40 dozen cookies. So the cost can be found by multiplying 40 for 40 dozen times $4.70 a dozen. When we multiply 40 by $4.70, we get $188. So that means that it costs Fred $188 to bake 40 dozen cookies. Next, we're going to find the total selling price, or the revenue, of all cookies. To do that, we'll use the formula selling price equals the cost over the percent markup on selling price. The cost was found in step 1, so that's 188, and then the percent markup is given to us in the problem, and that's 40%. So we'll write that as a decimal as 0.4. So 188 divided by 0.4 is 470. So that means that the selling price of all cookies is $470, and that's with the 40% markup. Our next step is to find the exact amount of cookies that are to be sold. So if you notice in our problem, it's only expected to sell 80% of cookies. So we want to figure out how many cookies that is. To do that, we'll just multiply 40 dozen times 0.8, which is the decimal form of 80%, and we get 32. So this means that only 32 dozen cookies are going to sell. Finally, we'll compute the price per dozen by taking the total revenue, or the selling price of all cookies, which is $4.70, and dividing it by the number of cookies to be sold, which is 32. So $4.70 divided by 32 gives us a value of 14.6875, and we'll round that to the nearest cent. So our answer is $14.69. That means that Fred must sell each dozen at $14.69 in order to get a 40% markup on selling price.